Hello everyone and welcome back to Joe's Healthy Cupboard. Thank you for joining me. I have decided to do a marathon update because, as many of you know, I am running a marathon on the 24th of February, and I just thought I'd do a little roundup of where I am, how I entertain myself on these long runs when I've only got myself to talk to, kind of things I talk about, which can be quite comedy, and also the charity I've decided that I am going to support in running this marathon. So yeah, I'm going to just run through some of those things, and I hope it's of interest and help for anyone else who is thinking about or planning to run a marathon. Sorry, the sun is just shining in my window directly onto me. Right, let's get started. So I have 3 weeks on, let me just check, 4 weeks on Saturday, so that's quite soon, and I started training about 6 weeks ago, sorry, I'm looking up at my plan which is on my fridge. So I didn't have a huge amount of time to train for this marathon, but I like to do things, you know, I'm all in, so it was about 11 weeks ago I decided to do it, and I'm quite reasonably fit and I'm a runner anyway, so I knew I would have time to train for it. I already ran through something in a video previously about how I fit in training for a marathon. So this is more of an update about where I am. So just now, this morning, I just ran 19 miles. So I'm so happy about that. I have been increasing my long run, which I've been doing one long run every week, usually on a Friday, but today it's Thursday. And so last week it was 17 and this week it was 19 miles. So where do I even start with 19 miles? It sounds like such a lot, but when you're gradually increasing 2 miles per week, it doesn't feel like that. So if you think like, well, last week I managed to run 17, therefore this is only 2 miles more, it seems like a manageable distance. One thing I've started to struggle with is we live in a city which is relatively, it's not tiny, but it's quite small, so finding routes that don't mean going back on yourself and that don't have traffic and that are quite relatively flat and comfortable to run on without loads of roads, it's actually quite tricky. So we have a railway line which I absolutely love to run on. It's an old disused railway line, and it's probably about, you can run clear 6 miles one way and 6 miles back anyway. So I've been running from my house onto that, and yeah, the distance goes past quite quickly. It's a really scenic route, so I enjoy running on that a lot. So it's quite a long time. If you think about 19 miles, that today took me almost 2 hours 40. And I do find ways to entertain myself, and like what goes on in my head sometimes is just crazy because so many thoughts come into your head and you only really realise it when you're on your own for that period of time. So I always say hi to everyone that I pass and I smile. Not everyone says hi back, so if you're on the railway line, please say hi back, it would make my day. And then I do affirmations a lot. I tend to do them near the end of my run. To begin with, I usually try and focus on something that I'm trying to resolve or help or grow in my business, or what I'm going to talk about a little bit later is the charity that I'm going to support with this marathon. So I was thinking of ideas for that. And then when I started running out, I came up with some great ideas. So when I kind of got to the end of that thought process, I started to feel like I might need the toilet. Now this is, for any runner, a bit of an issue. So obviously, you know, you either want to plan your route so that there's somewhere you might be able to go, make sure you don't eat too much fibre before you run, that kind of thing all helps. I think just focusing on something else. So it sounds crazy, but I was just like running and saying, I surrender. If this is going to happen to me, then it's going to happen. I'll just have to find somewhere to go. And by doing that, miraculously, I don't know how, I no longer needed to go to the bathroom and managed to run the full 19 miles. And the same thing happened last week. I thought maybe I needed to go to the bathroom, and I just kept saying, well, I surrender to my body. If that's going to happen, then I'm going to have to find somewhere to stop. And miraculously, it didn't happen, you'll be pleased to know. So made it through 19 miles without needing to go to the toilet or stop somewhere. So some of the other things, like when I get to the point where you start thinking, oh, you start feeling your body a lot more, that's when I really kick in with the affirmations. So something that I did today, I usually tell myself over and over again, my body is strong, my mind is strong, my body is made for this run. And I'll say that over and over and over and over again to myself. And then I also started feeling a bit of pain in my hips. So I started saying, saying thank you for the strength in my hips, and trying to sort of send positive energy in that direction. That was near the end. And then I was running, and with each step, I was saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I told you it sounds crazy, but this is the mind of someone doing long distance running. If you are a marathon runner, a long distance runner, please let me know that you do something similar. Maybe it's slightly different, but yeah. So I was thinking of a person who I was grateful for, and then I was saying thank you, thank you, thank you 3 times. Then the next person, and then I got to the point where I was repeating myself. So I was like, doing it for things like the fact it was a beautiful day, the fact that I live in a safe area, all these things, just to keep my mind occupied. So that probably goes into enough detail about my thought processes, which are, let's just say, interesting. So other things, fuel. So when you're running that distance, you do need to fuel. Your body has enough stores, enough to keep you going, and if you fuel right as well before you go, for about 2 hours. And for me, that is roughly 15 miles. So I usually start refueling before I get to the 2 hour point, just so I don't ever hit a wall. So about 1 hour 50, which is maybe 14 and a half miles, I start drinking my drink. So I have, this is my energy drink, which is Phytosport, so you can't really see that. And it's a prepare and endure drink, which has B vitamins, vitamin C and vitamin E, and it helps to protect your cells from oxidative stress, and also reduces tiredness and fatigue. I take this before I run, and then I put it in my water for whilst I start refueling. I also add a fizz stick, which is equivalent to an energy drink, but with minus all the minus all the calories and the sugar and the caffeine. It's only got about 12 calories, not that I'm really bothered about calories, and about 50 milligrams of caffeine, so that goes into my water as well, and the two together seem to work really well. And then the last thing is my protein bar. I mean, I've in the past used jelly beans. I find that this actually has worked much better for me. So this is a cranberry and pumpkin seed vegan protein bar. What I do is just open it, and then over the period of like maybe 5 miles, I'll just break off little bits, pop them in my mouth, keep breathing, and just eat little bits at a time, and then put it back in my little pouch. And that has been working really well, touch wood so far. And the drink has lasted me until the end. So I'm figuring that the run I'm doing is actually 27 miles, so I'm going to need something else. I'm going to need, I'm sure there's going to be fueling stations, so I will start needing to use that. Now finally, now that we've covered that little update, if you have any other questions about marathon running or running in general, I would love to help you out or answer any questions, so comment below. And finally, I want to talk about the charity I'm going to support. It's called MISS, which stands for Miscarriage Information Support Services. And as far as I know, this is the only kind of support group that runs in my local area for women and their partners who have experienced miscarriages. They need to raise money in order to keep going. I think they've got about £1,500 that they need to keep going for the next year. My aim is to help raise all of that money. So if you live in the local area, this charity, it means a lot to me. I have experienced miscarriages myself before. This is the charity I'm going to support. And if you have used their services or know someone else that may have, then it would mean the world if you were wanted to support. I'll share a link below about that as well. And have a lovely weekend, and I will catch up with you all soon. Bye.